welcome back to part 13, where we'll finally start doing some assembly processes. So the first several videos we did the rough grind of the blade, then we finished up our guard, and now we're ready to start some assembly processes. So the guard is going to be mounted to the blade, and once we do that, it is a permanent mount, so we press fit the guard on the blade, and once it's there, it's not moving. So because we do that, we want to bring the blade to our final polish, and we did that this morning. And that's a big question in itself. It's often asked, what polish do we bring our blades to? And historically, it ranges all over the place, but we come from it from a place of practicality. I used to mirror polish everything, but I realized that not all of our customers have the ability to bring steel. They don't have these big belt sanders to bring steel to a mirror polish. So what everyone does have, though, from theater to martial arts to wherever, are green scrubbies. So green scrubbies are great. They actually provide a really good satin finish. So what we do is we go from our rough grind at about 50 to 60 grit, and once we're done all the rough grinding, we go straight to 200 to 220, depending on what belts we're having at the time. And then we have a few 220 belts. So this guy's just got off 220. And then from 220 we go to 400, 450, again depending on the belts we're getting in at the time. And 450 and 400 overshoot the polish of a green scrubby. So what we do is after we run the 400 or the 450, then we put the green scrubby belt. We actually have a belt for our grinders that's the same material. And then we buff out using the green scrubby wheel, that's what we call it. So that brings the blade to the polish of your green scrubby. So if you have any issues or any stains or any even rust on a blade, no matter where you're at, you can use a green scrubby and just clean it off, and it'll bring the polish right back to what you see here. So now, now that we have the blade all polished, sorry, I was trying to see if you can actually see it in the camera here. Now that we have the blade polished, let's go over and mount the guard. Alright, so we have the guard, or the blade mounted in the vise. There we go. Then we have the guard. So the guard is down as far as it can go before it needs to be pressed. We put some padding and our tube and hammer away. This is a very slow process, so we don't want to force it too hard. If it does, then we pull it off and do a little bit more filing. And hopefully the camera stays steady and doesn't fly off. So we have our guard all mounted. The camera flew off the stand there, so we lost some footage. But yeah, we got it pressed on. And now that it's nice and pressed in place, again, it's not going anywhere. It's a solid connection. And for stage pieces, what really makes this type of approach really good for stage work is the amount of sound it gives to your blade. And that's very important for a lot of folks, depending on what if you're either doing film or on stage, especially live theater, you want a blade that sounds really good. And I knew this guard with the cutouts was going to give a really good sound. We used to do all of our blades with a threaded tang, either a 5/16 or a 3/8, pretty beefy tang. And the way you would know if that was coming loose is if the mate between the guard and the blade started losing sound. You could tell the handle was getting loose. And so as a note for any of you guys doing stage combat, if you have a blade and it starts losing sound, that means your guard is starting to lose its mate to the blade. And this is what also makes European blades historically sound, that classic sword sound that we know of, over almost any other type of swords, because of the way the guards mate to the blade. So let's see how she sounds. So good. Sounds nice. She sounds pretty good. So from here, now we have the guard mounted. We have a few other blades and guards that we got to get mounted up that are actual pieces we got to get out. But after we're done with all that, then we go to the handle. And our handles, the way we do our handles is basically our poplar wood slats. We layer them up to build the wood around the tang. And then we cover in leather and wrap in string. So we'll be doing that in the next video. and thanks again for watching. And this blade is slowly getting there, but we're going to be finished up pretty soon. Thanks.